Good morning. So today's video, I wanted to talk about a lens that I'm finding myself using all of the time. And it's an expensive lens, and it's a lens that you maybe don't have in your bag yet, but you aspire to. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's probably one of the first, good lenses that you should have in your camera kit. But first I'm going to address the black eye on my face. As you can see behind me, we're camping, and we're at a beautiful RV resort. And I was home getting ready to come here, and it looks like somebody came across my face with a crowbar or something. And this is actually 6 days later. You should have seen what it looked like when I first did it. So I was getting the RV ready, and I'm going to show you. So what I did was I took this drill right here, okay, and I used this to raise and lower these jacks here. The drill goes on here like that, and it raises and lowers these jacks. Well, what happened was when it got to the top, the drill stopped moving, but the torque from the drill actually flipped it up, and it smashed me in the side of the face. So, hence, I've had this beautiful shiner for the last week. So that is why that is there. Okay, so I have my bag here next to me with all of my lenses for my Nikon. And, this is the bag I take with me when I shoot. And I'm looking at it now here. I have a 35mm f2, I have a 70 to 200 2.8, I have my fisheye lens, I have a 16 to 35 f4, which is a really great landscape lens. I also have my 135 Rokinon f2, which is a phenomenal portrait lens. And then I have the one lens that's been on my camera for just about everything I've been shooting lately. And that's my Tamron 24-70 f2.8. And, a lot of cameras come with a 24-70 equivalent as a kit lens. The M50 that I'm using right here has a 15-45 equivalent, but the aperture is not as wide open, so you can't get a shallow depth of field. This lens is a 3.5 to 6.3. And kit lenses typically tend to be like that. They're not the best. Even on a full frame camera, you'll get a 24 to 105 maybe, but it'll be an f4, not an f2.8. The f2.8 is usually a little bit more money, and it just gives you better results. So I found myself over the last month doing a lot of freelance work. I've been doing some RV work. I've been with campgrounds, and also some food photography and interior work for a restaurant. And I noticed that every single image I'm taking, I'm constantly have the 24-70 on the camera. It's one of those lenses that I just seem to like to use in pressure situations. It always delivers. If I need to quickly zoom in on something, I can. If I have to do like if it's something where I want to get a nice out of focus background, super easy to do that. If I want to get a little bit wider shot, 24mm on a full frame camera is actually a nice wide field of view. And even here at this resort, they have a beautiful pool area with a nice play structure for the kids with, dumping buckets and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to take some pictures of my family running around. They're still in the camera. I haven't edited them there or anything. But I grabbed the 24-70. It's just, it's a versatile lens that I know I'm going to get exactly what I want when I want it. They're expensive. Like this one I bought, I've had this now for a few years. It's the old version, but the G2 version of this is about $1,100. So it's not a cheap lens. And if you're adapting it to a crop sensor camera, it's not a 24 to 70 anymore. So you have to look in that 15 to 45, 17 to 55 range. But they do make f2.8 lenses for crop sensor cameras. Or you can adapt one of these, to your crop sensor, but it's going to give you more like a 36 to 105 type of field of view, but you'll still have a nice wide aperture. It's not going to be as shallow depth of field as if you're using a full frame camera. But with the price of full frame cameras coming down, and all of these companies starting to release more and more of them, it might be worth it to get a lens like this, even if you don't have the camera you want yet, because this is a lens that you'll have for years and years. My other 24-70, which is actually a 28-70 that I did a video on real early on in the channel. It's a Nikon, and I just had it repaired, and the lens was built in 1993. and it still produces beautiful images. it's a wonderful lens, and there's no reason for me to ever get rid of it. I was thinking about selling it, and I'm not going to. I've decided I'm just going to keep it because I actually love the images that come out of it. The reason I like the Tamron is it's stabilized, which is great. And one of the things I don't love about the Tamron is it's got an 82 millimeter filter thread, which is a little odd. All my other lenses are 77 millimeters, so my other 28 to 70 Nikon, I can use my filters on, so that's another reason I'm keeping it. As I look through images over the years and I see the types of images that I take with this focal length, it makes me realize that this is really a go-to lens, especially if you're running around, and it doesn't have to be professionally. In a professional situation, it's nice to be able to get the shot you need when you need it, not fumfer around with your gear. You don't want to look unprofessional when you're being paid to do something. So I know what I can get with this lens. It's going to be very versatile if I have to zoom in, zoom out, if I have to work off a tripod, whatever it is. It's a great lens where you don't have to think too much. You have a lot of versatility with it. But in a personal situation with your family, if you're on vacations, maybe you want to shoot landscapes, it does all of that. When we were shooting our last book in Disneyland, I found myself using this focal length quite a bit. And it's just, it gives you images that they're beautiful. You can create a shallow depth of field if you want, but you don't also have to be changing your lenses as much. Now, if you're new to the channel, there are two of us that run this channel, and Eric is the other half of this channel, and Eric shoots almost exclusively with primes. And I'll say that I've been, shooting and working with Eric for 10 years now. But I will say, when it comes to it, I remember we would do some shooting for schools. We would shoot some high school events and elementary school events. We were doing like Halloween portrait shoots and things like that. When it came down to actually crunch time and we had to get a bunch of shots, like shoot hundreds of kids over the course of a night, he threw his 24 to 70 on the camera, and he knew what he was going to get with that. So when he has time to create and be more artistic in his photography, he will always go with the prime lens, and he always gets beautiful images. And if you've ever looked at our Instagram account and you look at his images, I mean, they're just beautiful. So, and the reason is he takes the time, and he's got a bag full of really nice prime lenses, that he gets very creative with. I tend to shoot more with my zoom lenses because I like the versatility of being able to shoot quickly and change focal distances, and I wear a backpack type of camera bag, and it's harder for me to change lenses as fast. He uses a big sling bag, and it's easy for him to get in and out of his bag, and he quickly can change lenses. He's almost got it down to a system now. So you also have to know what kind of photography you're going to be into, but as a walk-around, everyday lens, I think this is a focal length that if you're on the fence, because we get asked questions all the time, every single day there's another, what lens do you think I should get? And I think you should get this lens. Changing camera bodies is great, and everybody's always looking, all these cameras keep coming out. All the Canon just announced all their full frame mirrorless, and Sony's got a full line of all these different cameras, and Nikon keeps making announcements. But if you buy a really good lens, and even if you use it on an older camera for a few years, building up the lens collection, I think, is more important than getting the latest and greatest camera. Once you have a bag of lenses like I do, then maybe you want to start, upgrading your camera body. Maybe you want a mirrorless camera, or there's some feature that you want, or you want a flip out screen, or whatever it is. But I think, if you have a decent camera already, or if you're looking to just start out and buy a decent camera, you can get a used full frame camera at a great price right now, and then build up a nice lens collection. And then when you're comfortable with all your lenses, you have what you want, then you can begin the flipping in and out of camera bodies that a lot of photographers do. But a lot of times they end up just keeping the lenses that they have. Now, right now is a strange time because all of the camera manufacturers are coming out with these mirrorless lens lines now. So if you have, older lenses that were made for DSLRs, I'm seeing a lot of my friends now actually getting rid of everything and changing their cameras and lenses. But the 24 to 70 focal length, they're getting the new mirrorless versions of them. So it's still a lens that you're going to want to have in your bag. Okay, so that was just my thoughts. I was, using this lens quite a bit over the last few days, and I thought maybe give you a little advice. I'm going to put some of our lens reviews in the corners here, and you can see what we think about them and how we use them in different situations, and I'll see you in the next video.